And if you're joining me from the previous stream, I'd like to thank you for hopping into that one. And the conversation continues, but this time around, you're just going to look at the situation there in KZN. There's a bunch of lootings going on there as we speak, by the way. So don't be surprised if I show you something that dropped like 5 seconds ago. And I'll try my best to give you guys, the backstory as to how these things are happening right now in May, or as we hop it into June of 2026. These things they've been brewing, to say the least. I'm not shocked whatsoever. I know that you are not shocked either. Don't tell me that you're shocked. Do not act shocked. You are not shocked that people are in the streets doing what they're doing right now. No one is shocked. The only people who are shocked are people who just heard of the story yesterday. Those are the only people who are shocked. But if you've been following what's been going on in South Africa for even a day, you know exactly why this is happening right now. By the way, on this channel, to my personal capacity, I rebuke and I condemn all these violent acts that are going on in the country right now. I pray and hope that everything is resolved swiftly and as urgently as humanly possible by our overheads, or people who have control of the situation that's going on here in South Africa. I said belief. So yeah, let's start what's going on there in KZN chat. You feel what I'm saying? Again, thank you guys for joining me. Make sure you click the like button so that like-minded people like you and I are able to find this video on YouTube. I really do appreciate it. I've never seen 100 people watching me rant ever in my life. It was the first time of that happening. Reason why I'm yapping and saying a bunch of nothing right now is because I'm setting up things nicely so that you guys have a wonderful experience on the stream right now.
Actually,
you just smell me.
Just out that there are about 100 people that have been taken in by police officers here in Rocklands, where we are standing actually as just outside of the Petrus Molemela Stadium, which is one of Bloemfontein's landmarks. The bottle store is situated right next to that stadium, and from what we understand, the bottle store is actually owned and managed by a Chinese national, and it is one of the shops that were looted around here. But from what we are understanding,
bro, this is not a joke, but the guys went to go loot a bottle store, dog. That just shows to you, bro, South Africans consume alcohol. I don't know if you guys know this, but Heineken realized that they were losing money. Heineken saw that we're not making that much money in Europe. So Heineken, as of 2026, decided to take all the money that they were projecting to invest into the market of the Europeans. They're like, nah, let's just take that money and invest it into South Africa. That should tell you about alcohol consumption in South Africa. And that should tell you about the type of investments that we attract in this country. And that's another failure of government. That's another failure of government. How the blood clot are you going to tell me that the one thing that we attract in our economy is alcohol investments? How, Sway? Heineken is like, wait a minute. We seeing a decrease of sales in Western countries when it comes to the production of our beer. But down there in South Africa, oh my goodness, the graph was like green, bullish. They like, okay, you know what? Let's make some business sense out of this. We're investing more capital into the situation that's going on there in South Africa. Crazy, dog. And this clip right here of South Africans looting a bottle store, a Chinese-owned bottle store, speaks volumes, dude.
It is one of the shops that were looted around here. But from what we are understanding from community members that are actually standing by on the side of the road, is that these alleged lootings actually started in the early hours this morning around 4 o'clock. That's when they started hearing. I'm just going to step out of shot.
South Africa is in the top 10 list of most consumers of alcohol. Let me show you. There's a video that, do you know that guy? Who's that guy? Cool story, dude. Let me find him. I'm just responding to a comment here in the chat, in case you're wondering, what the hell am I talking about? Cool. Hold on.
The amount of alcohol that South Africans consume over the festive season is unbelievable. According to a recent report, South Africans spent 7.7 billion rand on alcohol between the 25th and 31st of December.
25th and 31st of December. That's 6 days. In a week, South Africans are spending 7.7 billion rand. And you telling me that what I just told you 5 seconds ago is a lie? Stop playing with me, dog. Don't do me like that. I'm not a liar. If there's one thing that I do on this channel is spit facts the whole day, every day. Do not call me a liar. And I'm not playing this video any further because I just told you that South Africans spent 7.7 billion rands worth of alcohol in 7 days. I'm done with you. Did I answer your question?
At this point, Leanne, just to show you what is actually taking place.
When fear turns to fury, even the calmest streets can erupt into chaos. This is the reality facing South Africa today. In the heart of Rocklands, Bloemfontein, community unrest escalated into looting and mass arrests. Locals, driven by frustration, targeted a Chinese-owned bottle store and surrounding businesses. Police responded swiftly, detaining nearly 100 suspects. But the deeper story is not just about theft. It is about anger, economic desperation, and a society grappling with the consequences of high unemployment, crumbling infrastructure, and rising inequality. Video footage circulating on social media shows groups swarming shops, breaking windows, and carrying away goods, leaving destruction in their wake. Eyewitnesses describe the chaos as sudden and overwhelming, with residents fleeing for safety while police struggled to contain the crowds. Rubber bullets were deployed to disperse rioters, highlighting the severity of the unrest. Police presence remains heavy in Rocklands as public order units continue to patrol to prevent further violence. Charges against the detainees are still pending, but the incident has sparked widespread debate over the socio-economic forces fueling such outbreaks.
If there's one stereotype that South Africans will struggle to fight, it's our love for alcohol. I swear, this one is going to be tough. Alcohol is, look at MacG. The biggest podcasting network in the continent is pushing alcohol. You know what I mean? Out of all products you could come up with a cap, clothes, maybe streetwear, maybe some footwear. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you could come up with a new device, cell phone, earpods, anything. Bro was like, bro, fuck that. Where's my money? I want to invest in alcohol. You know why? Because he sat down and was like, what's the one thing that South Africans consume? What's the one thing that my subscribers are going to buy like this without, even a second thought? Alcohol. I'm sorry. That's one stereotype that I say. By the way, stereotypes are not labels. Stereotypes are just earned. Like literally, the minute you get a stereotype or certain group stereotyping your group, just know that you guys earned that shit. The whole Nigerian drug stereotype, it's not by mistake. They earned it. You know what I mean?
Meanwhile, Cape Town has experienced simultaneous waves of demonstrations showing a city divided over the treatment of migrants and foreign nationals. Over the weekend of May 23 to 24, 2026, hundreds of protesters, organized by civic groups such as the March and March movement and Operation Dudula, marched through the city, demanding stricter immigration enforcement. The route stretched along Voortrekker Road from Bellville CBD to Paro Police Station, symbolically passing through commercial hubs and residential neighborhoods. The protesters' demands were clear. They want government action to remove undocumented migrants, clear illegally occupied buildings, and ensure that local South Africans are prioritized in hiring. Local businesses...
Is that too much to ask for? Yo, the whole world is calling South Africa xenophobic for simply demanding things that are already a norm in their countries. It's like, bro, what do you mean that you don't want South Africans to want to be prioritized in job placements? What do you mean? As long as the South African qualifies, why not take the South African? Because at least a South African is going to be able to pay taxes and contribute to the economy. What do you mean? How is that a crazy thing to ask for? The same taxes that are paying for the resources that all the foreigners, whether legal or illegal, seem to be enjoying in this country. What do you mean if that's a bad thing? Because the illegal immigrant is not able to pay taxes into the system that they're enjoying the public services from, simply because they are not documented and they are not in the system to begin with. So what do you mean that this person who's not contributing into our economy should be able to get and consume the resources that he's not contributing into in the first place? Am I crazy? Am I crazy? Do I sound crazy? If I sound crazy, tell me that I sound crazy. If I'm spitting facts, put a W in the comments. Write the blood clot now. I don't want to hear anything that's related to South Africans being xenophobic. It's not a thing. It's not happening. It's not a thing. In 2026, it's not a thing. People are simply asking for the government to just put in policies that we spoke about a year ago. A year ago, we sat down with our parliament. We told them, look, man, please, prioritize South Africans. Stop telling us that South Africa belongs to all who live in it. Yes, it's true. However, that constitutional act or whatever, that constitutional sentence, whatever you want to call it in political terms, was in the context of all the unrest that was going on in the country with South Africans fighting the apartheid system, where eventually the black folk were like, you know what, maybe you guys have to dip. The Europeans, that is. Maybe the Afrikaners, you guys might have to dip. And they sat down, were like, guys, let's figure it out. Let's talk about it. And they were like, you know what? Maybe we should just let you guys stay. Let's rather say that South Africa belongs to all who live in it. Because you guys are living here now. You guys have IDs, right? So now, fast forward 30 years later, foreigners are telling South Africans that they say, I live here now. So why are you telling me that I must leave? Because in your constitution, it says that South Africa belongs to all who live in it. So I'm not going nowhere. It's like, nobody. It's not in your context. It's not about you, buddy. It's about South Africans. No, buddy. That's not what he says. So we're asking you, a year ago, Parliament, to fix it and be more specific and rather say that South Africa belongs to its citizens, just like it's the case with any other country. How is that a crazy thing to ask for? Number two, the second thing that South Africans were asking for about a year ago and got completely ignored by our own government was that, guys, please, we're begging you, can resources, tax-paid resources that are funded by taxpayers of South Africans be prioritized for South Africans? Because right now we don't have any sufficient resources as far as when South Africans go to clinics, they can't get any medication. South Africans, when they go to hospitals to give birth, there's no beds for the South Africans to get into hospital and give births because there's a shortage of beds even. Are you kidding me? Now, on top of that, we have to share these limited resources to place our kids in public schools where you find that your child cannot get placement in a public school because foreign national kids are getting prioritized over your baby. It's bonkers. Fix it. Can South Africans take priority over visitors? Is that a fair argument? I think it is. Number three, I could go the whole day. But that's not what we're here for. I could go the whole day, but that's not what we're here for. So let's rather stick to the subject because I just did an hour 40-minute stream. I was not supposed to do an hour 40-minute stream. I was supposed to do a 30-minute stream. So that went on for way too long. I don't want to do the same in this one. So let's just stick to the subject at hand. My goodness. I'm even running out of breath just talking about these things. So it's so frustrating. Should I go to number 4? If you want me to go to number 4, tell me now in the chat. I'll go to number 4. I could go the whole day. I could go to even number 6 if I can.
Particularly those employing migrant labor temporarily shut down during the marches, underscoring the impact of these social tensions on commerce and daily life. But these protests have not been challenged. On May 25, 2026, migrant rights organizations staged a counter-demonstration outside St. George's Cathedral in central Cape Town. Timed to coincide with Africa Day, the picket emphasized continental unity and condemned xenophobia, Afrophobia, and discrimination against migrants.
There is no Afrophobia, there is no xenophobia, there is no discrimination against immigrants that's going on in this country. All that's happening in this country is enforcement or the demand for the law to be enforced in this country. That is not a crazy demand. That is not because us as South Africans, we have the constitutional these political terms I'm just gonna butcher them the whole stream. So you guys are gonna have to bear with me. Excuse me. excuse me, us as South Africans, we have the obligation to abide by our systematic laws, by our constitutional laws, simply because if we as a South African break the law, you are recorded in the system. All your fingerprints are in the system. So if you mess up, buddy, you're in trouble. You are in trouble. The illegal migrants are not in the system. So whatever they do, they can get away with it. We just asking them to behave themselves because they realize that if I do this, I can get away with it. If I can just get into South Africa and lie that there's a war in my country and I'm an asylum seeker, I can simply get, an asylum what, and I can be able to stay here. Fantastic, I'm doing it. No, buddy, don't do that. That's all you're asking. But no, that's xenophobic, right? Simply asking people to behave in a country where there are visitors in, or wherever they seeking asylums in. Xenophobic. You can't do that as South African. How dare you? Make it make sense, bro. Make it make sense.
And condemned xenophobia, Afrophobia, and discrimination against migrants. Speakers highlighted that systemic issues such as poverty, unemployment, and failing public services are often scapegoated on foreign nationals rather than addressed through policy reform.
Listen to what this AI Blue is saying. I'm going to play it back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Listen to what he said. I just want to talk about what he's talking about right now.
6.
Listen.
Migrant rights organizations staged a counter-demonstration outside St. George's Cathedral in central Cape Town. Timed to coincide with Africa Day, the picket emphasized continental unity and condemned xenophobia, Afrophobia, and discrimination against migrants.
I'll pause it right there so I can be able to do something quickly. Just give me 2 seconds quickly. I just want to change my thumbnail because the one that I have right now is not pushing this live stream enough. Give me a sec. You guys have 2 minutes, right? Give me 2 minutes, max. Done.
Speakers highlighted that systemic issues such as poverty, unemployment, and failing public 2026.
All right, let's talk about what he said.
Migrant rights organizations staged a counter-demonstration outside St. George's Cathedral in central Cape Town. Timed to coincide with Africa Day, the picket emphasized continental unity and condemned xenophobia, Afrophobia, and discrimination against migrants. Speakers highlighted that systemic issues such as poverty, unemployment, and failing public services are often scapegoated on foreign nationals rather than addressed through policy reform.
He's saying that South Africans are using foreigners as a scapegoat for problems that are being faced here in South Africa rather than addressing these problems using reform. I think that ship might have sailed. I mean, it's been a year now that whatever the AI Brew is suggesting that South Africans should have done, it's been over a year now where South Africans already tried that already. And currently, as of today, the South Africans for Constitutional Reform is taking Parliament to court right now for ignoring South Africans. Fact! I covered that in the previous stream. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Black Clot. Go to 1 hour 30 minutes. Right there, from 1 hour 30 minute mark, that last 10 minutes, we spoke about that. The last 20 minutes, we spoke about that. Stop playing with me. AI Blue. who's behind this video. Stop playing with me. We spoke about this already. And how do you not know that if you're an AI generated video? If you're an AI generated video, then how do you not know that South Africans already tried what you're suggesting right now? Listen to what this Blue is suggesting. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm playing it back.
Cathedral in central Cape Town. Timed to coincide with Africa Day, the picket emphasized continental unity and condemned xenophobia, Afrophobia, and discrimination against migrants. Speakers highlighted that systemic issues such as poverty, unemployment, and failing public services are often scapegoated on foreign nationals rather than addressed through policy reform.
We tried to address these issues through policy reform, and the government ignored us. Facts. They ignored us. And that's why, as of 30th of May 2026, they've been taken to court because of them ignoring our attempts to fix these issues via policy reform. But it's not only a year ago when South Africans tried. We've been trying for years. If you are a true foreigner, listen here, if you have been in South Africa as a foreigner, and you are telling us South Africans that we never tried policy reform, bro, I don't know what to call you. I'm sorry. You are a liar, bro. You would be lying if you say that South Africans haven't been trying to fix this country as far around the issues of poverty, unemployment, etc., etc. If you're saying that we haven't tried sitting down with this government, then you are a liar. Be honest with yourself, bro. I know for a fact that this channel is from Nigeria. The video that we're watching right now is a channel from Nigeria. And this Blue is pushing the narrative that South Africans haven't been trying to fix South African problems using the right channels, using policy reform. He's telling us that we haven't been trying. We've been trying for years and decades. And it's only now that the South African constitutional reform is taking the South African parliament to court because we were ignored. Stop lying, bruh. Why are there so many lies that are dangling over South Africans' heads, dog? Now I have to switch my content, the content that I want to do. I have to switch from that and risk losing my channel to play or to talk about politics, bro. Do you know how risky, bro? I'm risking my channel for this chat, bro. I'm risking my channel because of politics, dude. Because I care so much about this country. I'm risking losing this channel just because I just want to put it out there that, guys, what's going on in South Africa is not xenophobia. I'm tired of bro, listen here. Half of my subscribers are from the United States of America. And this algorithm is not pushing my content to Americans anymore. I wish it did. So I can explain so that they can ask questions in the live chat and tell me exactly what it is that they have against South Africa and what we're doing right now, so I can be able to give them talking points and explain to them why it's going on the way it's going on right now. South Africa is a trending topic right now. And I feel like South Africans themselves are not doing enough justice to the whole story as far as pushing it out there and talking about it enough. Because our celebrities are so complacent and they're just relaxing and not talking about it. But they have millions of Americans or people from Western countries who are following them. And they're not saying nothing about these issues. The only Blue, shout out to Oscar Mbo for talking about it. Oscar Mbo spoke about it. Shout out to him. He explained it to his followers, his international followers, that what's going on in South Africa is because of this, that, and the third. And he explained it to them so well, but they still came at him regardless. And it's like, guys, how, Sway? Why is it okay when Ghana is doing it? Because Ghana did it to Nigerians to say, guys, please leave our country. We got problems in this country and you guys are adding on to our problems. Please leave. Ghana did it. Even Nigeria themselves did it. But it's crazy when we do it, right? Let me read this comment from David. Hi, David. South African people have been talking about many issues, but the government kept ignoring them. I remember there was a deputy police who spoke about this illegal immigration, but he was ignored. Mr. Sir, let me show you a video of Ntate Mang. Let me show you a video of this timer getting ignored. Let me show you a video of a South African politician getting ignored, calling out what's going on in South Africa years ago. Let me show you quickly. I just forgot his name. He used to be in exile. He used to be on Robben Island as well. And apparently Ramaphosa or President Cyril Ramaphosa, just to be respectful, decided to rat him out, allegedly. Okay. Likota. Yes, Ntate Likota. I found him. I think Ntate Likota. Give me a sec, I'll find it just now. Give me a sec. Where's this video? It's a YouTube short. Give me a sec. I'll find it just now. Hi, Bo. You guys are so patient. I appreciate it. Wasn't even sharing my screen. My bad. Can't find it. They ignored him. Parliament ignored him. Shout out to Ntate Likota. This timer. Shout out to this man. Musiwa. Shout out to this timer. He was like, yo, listen, hey, wait. Butle. In which country, in the African continent or anywhere in the world, do you see porous borders and immigrants just moving into that country and staying there? Where? He's like, I'm resigning. I'm leaving. I'm leaving this parliament. I'm leaving the ANC government. I'm leaving. I'm gonna start my own thing. He left to go start COPE. And now he's retiring. He's tired of fighting. He said, guys, I'm tired. I'm tired. This is not the ANC that we died for. We lost friends and family for this ANC. Some of us served prison time in Robben Island, chipping rocks every day, only for this government to literally ignore the citizens. This is wrong. He said that in parliament. They ignored him completely. Look what's going on now. You have got to be kidding me, Chad. This is not a coincidence. This was a... Bro, you are not... and I love this analogy. You are not going to put 7 of your children, your biological children, in a house that has 3 of your stepkids. Let me say 2 of your 2. Let me say 2. 2 of your stepchildren. I love this analogy. You're not going to put 7 of your biological kids with 2 of your stepkids in the same house and discriminate against the 7 kids that you birthed. You're not going to do that. There's not going to be peace in that house, I promise you. There won't be peace in that house, I'm sorry. And if you have the golo to tell those 7 kids that they crazy, then you buggy. You are buggy.
And discrimination against migrants. Speakers highlighted that systemic issues such as poverty, unemployment, and failing public services are often scapegoated on foreign nationals rather than addressed through policy reform. They argued that administrative inefficiencies in the Department of Home Affairs exacerbate frustrations, creating conditions where violence and vigilantism take hold. The contrast between the two sets of...
If Home Affairs is not going to do their job, as far as making sure that people come in the country the right way, if Home Affairs is going to be corrupt and accept every single cent that's flooding into their personal pockets just so they can hand out citizenship or IDs to foreign nationals, and you think that South Africans are going to be okay with that, then you bugging. You bugging. It's out of here with traditional constitutional reform. We don't want to hear that chat no more. And until our government says, you know what, okay guys, stop, please, we're willing to listen to you guys, then we'll have a different conversation. But until then, unfortunately, people are going to be looting. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, it's very unfortunate. People are going to do it. And I'm speaking against it. I hope that they stop. I really wish that they would stop, because I wanted... Bro, everything was going so well. Everything was going so well, dude. March and March, dudula, they were marching peacefully. They still are marching peacefully, because the people are looting and literally doing everything that's against human rights, to be quite honest with you, because slapping somebody for simply being an immigrant is a human rights violation. That is not what March and March is about, Operation Dudula. That's not what they've been doing for the past couple of months. They've been literally marching since the 7th of December 2025. They've been saying that please leave, please leave, please leave, even way before that. I'm just mentioning 7th December simply because that's when I last remember them saying that, guys, we need you guys to leave vocally. That's when it started, catching my attention. At least that's when I started being like, hold on, what's going on? Being invested in the whole scandal. Now it's turning into something completely different from the root cause or the root protests. What we're trying to achieve as far as protesting is concerned. Now it's a whole different situation. I'm like, bro, stop, please, do not fight. Do not steal, do not loot, because now the government is gonna take attention from this situation being about reform. They're gonna say, oh, now you guys are fighting, so now we don't want to hear your stories anymore, South Africans. They're gonna switch the whole narrative now. Now we are screwed even worse. Now South Africans are screwed even worse. Now the government is gonna ignore us for real. The government was already ignoring us. Now they're gonna ignore us even worse now. Now you're just simply inviting these people to lash out the military against us now. Peaceful protests are now going to be framed as looting protests. The looters have ruined this whole operation, dog. Now it's out the window. Now it's no longer about what you guys want, the demands that you guys want. Now it's about, why are you looting? Oh my goodness, it's chai, bro. Yo! And all of this, just watch the space. All of this is going to be blamed. It's going to be blamed onto Operation Dudula and March and March. They're going to frame this as it's their fault. They are the reason why all of this is going on. The people who are looting, they have to be March and March. Now they're going to frame them now. It's chai. Yo.
Of protests could not be exacerbate frustrations, creating conditions where violence and vigilantism take hold. The contrast between the two sets of protests could not be starker. On one side, citizens express raw frustration at economic deprivation and perceived government inaction. On the other, migrant advocacy groups emphasize human rights and solidarity across African borders. This tug-of-war between fear and justice is playing out in real time.
I feel like it's very convenient for human rights to only be a thing in South Africa. It's not even a joke. Why am I laughing? It's only a thing in South Africa. All this human rights for foreigners, etc. It's only a thing in South Africa. When is it going to be a thing in Nigeria? When are these non-profit organizations going to take the Nigerian parliament or the Nigerian government to court for everything that's going on to those poor babies in Nigeria? When are they going to call out the strategies? What? Strategies? Is that a word? A strategy? That is not a word. I'm looking for a word. I'll find it just now. Haibo. Synonym for horrible things happening. There's a word. I'll find it. I'm not going to stop. I can't find it. So I'm going to stick to strategies. How are you going to let all the strategies that are going on in Congo and act like nothing is going on? When are you going to start calling out their government for violating human rights? When? The UN is complacent. They're quiet. Why? Guys, by the way, I'm risking my channel so I can have these conversations. So if you can do the bare minimum as to click the like button, I'd really appreciate it. Click the subscribe button while you're at it. So that me risking my channel that I never talk politics about, risking losing it, help me out, at least get a like or two nyana here. There's like 60 people watching, at least do that. What are we doing here? Anyway. Human rights only applies in South Africa, but what about throughout the whole continent of Africa? These kids who literally just got kidnapped about a week ago. Their teacher literally got beheaded. And the Nigerian government said nothing about it. But they're so focused on talking about the violence, the xenophobia. I'm saying, listen, in quotation marks, that's not really a thing. They're too busy focused on our politics, but they can't even address the murders and the kidnaps, the human trafficking that's going on in their country. Make it make sense, please, I'm begging you.
Crime across South African cities, including Durban and Pretoria, not just in Cape Town. In Bloemfontein, the looting of commercial properties is mirrored by smaller confrontations in Durban, while counter-pickets in Cape Town seek to remind the public of a moral and legal framework that protects all residents regardless of nationality. The underlying causes of these tensions are deep and multi-layered. South Africa remains one of the most unequal societies in the world. Wealth is concentrated in a small elite, while millions live in poverty, struggling to afford basic necessities such as food, housing, and healthcare.
Over 8.1 million South Africans are unemployed in this country. This is the most unequal country in the whole entire globe. One off.
Public services are failing, from overloaded hospitals to erratic electricity supplies managed by Eskom, while municipal infrastructure, from water to roads, crumbles. In communities like Rocklands, residents feel abandoned, powerless, and desperate. It is within this void of opportunity and trust that protest movements, both anti-immigrant and migrant rights-oriented, gain traction. High unemployment amplifies these pressures. With young South Africans facing limited prospects, anger is often directed toward migrants, perceived as competitors in a zero-sum economy. Townships experience intense competition for scarce jobs.
That's simply because townships had a working system before migrants started literally moving into the township. By the way, migrants have always been in the township. However, they did not run the economy there in the township. Spaza shops used to be a South African thing. Now it's an Ethiopian, Somalian thing. They literally kicked South Africans out of the economy of spaza shops, which is over 100 billion rand worth annual business model. Right? How much money does the spaza shop industry $180 billion rands, 200 billion rands annually. That used to be money that was floating around in the South African black community, black South African black communities used to transact an estimated annual amount of between 180 and 200 billion. All of it now, 99% of it currently right now is going to Somalians and Ethiopians. And you telling South Africans to relax? You telling South Africans to relax and just let it happen. That's the thing. South Africans were taught to have Ubuntu, and they were like, you know what? Hey, my friend, you can open your shop at my house, it's fine. Ubuntu is what killed this country, bro. Now South Africans are saying that enough with Ubuntu. For now, we're just going to put Ubuntu to the side, suspend Ubuntu. We just want to fix our country. And people are calling them crazy and xenophobic for doing that. Make it make sense. I'm losing my voice. I wasn't supposed to. I'm even getting a headache because I've been screaming so much on these streams, dog. This is killing our country, dude. Now it's even killing my voice. It's taking way more than my country. Wow.
Forcing some to channel frustration into protests or even violence. Meanwhile, foreign nationals, often living in precarious conditions themselves, face intimidation, harassment, and eviction attempts, sometimes with minimal protection from law enforcement. The video footage of African immigrants standing their ground against mobs in Durban went viral, symbolizing both courage and desperation in the face of persistent threats.
With your back turned against the wall, and South Africans are the only thing that you're faced with, eventually the foreigners are also going to retaliate, unfortunately. Unfortunately, the foreigners in these communities are also backed against the wall. And the only way for them to go through to find safety is to go through those same South Africans who are literally trying to kick them out. What do you think is going to happen eventually? What do you think is going to happen eventually? Exactly.
These events highlight a disturbing pattern. Economic hardship, compounded by corruption and political dysfunction, produces cycles of blame and scapegoating. Communities feel neglected, and mobs take justice into their own hands. Social media amplifies grievances, sometimes spreading misinformation that fuels further unrest. Citizens accuse each other of taking resources, while government agencies struggle to balance law enforcement with protection of civil liberties. In Rocklands, the looting is both a symptom and a warning, an eruption of frustration that could signal deeper unrest if unaddressed. Moreover, the international dimension cannot be ignored. Many migrants in South Africa hail from neighboring countries like Nigeria, Zimbabwe, and Somalia.
This AI idiot said many migrants that are coming into South Africa come from neighboring countries like Nigeria. Oh my God. This idiot called Nigeria a neighbor of South Africa. How, Sway?
Moreover, the international dimension cannot be ignored. Many migrants in South Africa hail from neighboring countries like Nigeria.
Many migrants saw that. Bro, how? How is that our neighbor? Nigeria is like, I don't know, with 54 countries in Africa, Nigeria is probably 10 countries away from South Africa. What are you talking about, stupid? What are you talking about? Anyway, it's fine.
Many migrants in South Africa hail from neighboring countries like Nigeria, Zimbabwe, and Somalia, and these incidents
Somalia. Imagine, Somalia is our neighbor now. Who's making these videos?
strain diplomatic relations. Governments in West Africa have protested, highlighting the humanitarian implications and calling for urgent protections for their citizens. Flights and border policies have been disrupted, consular offices overwhelmed, and international media attention has intensified, casting South Africa in a global spotlight over its handling of xenophobic violence.
By the way, this protest over here was probably during the week, by the way, which goes to show you that when the government is saying that there was over 300,000 jobs that were lost in the first quarter of 2026 alone in South Africa, you better believe them. This is evidence of it. Because most of these protests are going on during the week. Remember that protest that was going on in Thokoza? That was during the week. I've never seen so many people in one place during the week protesting. I've never seen that in my whole entire life. Over 300. You know what? I feel like I talk too much. How many jobs got lost in South Africa in the first quarter of the South Africans watching this stream right now? You know this for a fact. I'm just showing this to the rest of the world because I know that there's Americans in here who are telling us that we shouldn't be protesting. I'm showing this to them. Hold on. Give me a sec. Read. Can you read? South Africa lost 345,000 jobs during the first quarter of 2026, which pushed the official national unemployment rate to 32.7%. Stop playing with me. This country is screwed. The total number of employed people fell to 16. Tell us how many are unemployed. Don't tell us about how many are still employed. Tell us how many got unemployed. How many are employed right now? 8.1 million South Africans are unemployed in 2026. What are we talking about when we say that there's no issues in the country? And when we explain to you guys that these jobs, a lot, we're not saying all of these jobs. I'm saying that a lot of these jobs are occupied by illegal migrants. Facts. How do I know? I'll tell you how I know. Can I? Should I? Put a W. Like the video right now if you want me to tell you how I know. I'll tell you how I know. Like the video. Click the like button. I'll tell you.
Violence.
Comment in the live chat right now that it say, tell us, I'll tell you.
The government's response, while visible,
because there's no way there's 84 people watching this stream and no one is saying anything. I'm offended.
Has struggled to balance security, justice, and political considerations. In Rocklands, the swift detention of nearly 100 suspects aims to restore order, yet the structural issues, youth unemployment, poverty, and systemic inequality remain unresolved. In Cape Town, law enforcement monitors protests, but protesters continue to mobilize, reflecting deep-seated distrust of state institutions and a perceived lack of meaningful recourse. The situation illustrates how reactive measures alone cannot address the root causes of unrest.
The human impact of these events is immediate and profound. Small business owners have lost inventory and suffered property damage. Families and employees face trauma, fear, and economic uncertainty. Migrants confront intimidation, sometimes fleeing neighborhoods for their safety, while locals feel anxious amid ongoing clashes. Children in affected areas are at risk of disruption to schooling and social development. Communities live under the constant tension of protest, violence, and retaliatory actions.
These are normal South Africans. These are normal men in the streets during the week. Ladies and gentlemen, in Tembisa, I saw this. This was during the week in Tembisa. Grown men during the week, not at work, probably because they're unemployed, literally closing down spaza shops that are Somalian and Ethiopian owned to say, please close your shop. We've been asking you guys to stop selling expired food. You're still selling expired food. At this point, we need you guys to leave peacefully. This was weeks ago. This image right here, it was weeks ago. This is not a recent picture. It was in the month of May. It's still May, but we're in the tail end of May right now. We're in the 30th of May right now, today, as of today. So this was during the beginning of May, first couple of weeks in May. And these timers were like, we need you guys to vie. I say believe. They are on the ground. And for Americans to have the nerve to tell these men to stop what they're doing is offensive. For these men are the protectors of their community. The women in this community are looking up to these men to look after them. The kids are looking up to these men to look after them. And you have the nerve to tell these men to stop what they're doing? You must be kidding them. Because they are the ones who have to bear the brunt of going to a public facility like a clinic with his mom, the child's grandmother who's sick, or him as the daddy being sick, or him as the daddy taking his child to a clinic. When he gets there, there's a plethora of human beings waiting their turn to get medical assistance in the public clinic, only for them to be turned back or rejected simply because, we're closing because we just had too many people to serve. If you happen to be lucky enough to get in line and serviced, they tell you that unfortunately we ran out of medication. When you look in the queue, there's gang immigrants in the queue. A lot of them in the queue. Some of them are even being placed in front of you simply because they are paying the officials who are running the clinic some guap so they can get ahead in the queue. And you telling me that these men do not have the right to goloza, then you're bugging. You are offending these men. You are emasculating these men. You are offending their ancestors who fought for these privileges to begin with. You telling these men that F your ancestors and what they fought for during the system that was oppressing black folk. You are selfish for trying to prioritize yourself over foreign nationals. You are saying to these men that they are crazy. Then you are telling me that you have a problem in here as well, because there is no way you find that crazy. If Nigerians were doing exactly what South Africans are doing right now, I'd be with them. I'd be like, you know what, my brother? Finally, you guys have woken up. I'd be on this channel right now saying that, like, say, you know what, the Nigerians are doing there in their country, big ups to them, bros, bro. They just fighting for what's theirs. Because us as South Africans, our grandparents, our parents did the exact same thing. I did not raise a finger during the apartheid riots. I did not raise a finger. I wasn't even born. But the offensive language that's being peddled towards South Africans is crazy. You are offending my grandma. You're offending my pops. You're offending my uncles who fought this fight in 1976. When they left school here in Everton, in Sharpeville. I lived close to Sharpeville. Do you know the Sharpeville massacre? Sharpeville is right here. Stop playing with me. Sharpeville is right here. Do you know what happened during the Sharpeville massacre? They murdered people. People died there. And you telling me that those people who died fighting the apartheid system are crazy? Us literally continuing on the struggle that they fought for, you telling us that we crazy, then you bugging. I'll pray for you. I'm gonna pray for you. You need Christ in your life. You need Christ in your life. There is absolutely no way Americans are going to tell us how to operate in this country. There is absolutely no way. You're not going to tell us that, like, say, yeah, but when your government was discriminating against you, we gave Nelson Mandela access to our resources. Well done. Congratulations. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. But right now, we feel like our debt has been paid. We've been paying our debt for years now. And we're simply asking you to take the back seat Just for a biggie so we can talk to our government, and you telling us that we are crazy?
Social commentators and civic organizations stress that addressing these crises requires comprehensive approaches, sustained investment in infrastructure, aggressive job creation programs, equitable economic policies, transparent governance, and enforcement of human rights protections. Without these, protests may escalate and communities may fracture further along lines of ethnicity, nationality, and economic status. In conclusion, what is unfolding in Rocklands, Bloemfontein, and Cape Town is more than looting or public protest. It is a mirror reflecting the cumulative failures of governance, economic planning, and social cohesion in South Africa.
That's it. That's it. Say it again. For the people at the back, for the people all the way in Nigeria and Ghana. Say it again, please. I'm begging you. Say it again. Say it. They did not hear you.
Ethnicity, nationality, and economic status. In conclusion, what is unfolding in Rocklands, Bloemfontein, and Cape Town is more than looting or public protest. It is a mirror reflecting the cumulative failures of governance, economic planning, and social cohesion in South Africa.
If I hear one more person calling this xenophobia, I'm burning my phone. I'm burning my favorite hoodie. I'm burning my equipment. If I hear one more person calling this Afrophobia or xenophobia, I am... Don't you dare. Don't you dare. I beg you, please.
Residents, migrants, and civic groups are all navigating a landscape where frustration has reached a boiling point, and legal, economic, and social remedies seem slow in coming. The stories emerging from Rocklands and Cape Town serve as both a warning and a call for urgent action to address the underlying causes of unrest: poverty, inequality, failing public services, and widespread social discontent. As the situation continues to develop, South Africans and the international community watch closely. Citizens, migrants, and governments alike face pressing questions about security, justice, and human rights. The need for holistic, long-term solutions has never been more urgent. As these clashes are not isolated, they are symptomatic of a deeper crisis that, if left unresolved, threatens the stability of entire communities. When fear turns to fury, silence is no longer an option. A nation's true test is how it cares for those most vulnerable during its hardest hours.
And there you have it. There you have it. I have a headache right now because I've been screaming for 3 hours. Let me catch you guys on the next stream. You know what? Dai Baka, you say they were just looking for a reason to steal. I'll be honest with you, they are those groups. They are those vigilante groups. They just want to steal. I promise you they are. And then there's a larger majority of South Africans who are like, you know what? We just want change. We just want change in this country. You get what I mean? Am I going to sit here and lie and say that there's no criminals? I'd be lying. There's criminal groups that want people to riot so they can use that as an excuse to steal. 100% agree with you. However, a large majority of South Africans, if you look at the political landscape right now, are just extremely frustrated because our government has been ignoring us, ignoring our cries and requests to fix the issue that's going on in this country. I'll do more streams around this topic, chat. I appreciate you guys for joining me. Make sure that you guys click the like button before you leave. Make sure you click the subscriber button. Make sure you ring the notification bell so that when I go live again, YouTube sends you a notification so we can have this conversation live on stream. I'll keep flooding my live streams with everything that's going on in the country. Matter of fact, before I leave, let me quickly show you a few videos before I leave, okay? Let me quickly show you what's going on in KZN. I was on Twitter in the morning. Watch this. So someone is asking, where are the police throughout this mess, right? Unfortunately, the police are outnumbered. South Africa does not have a big enough police force to literally look out for every single store. And that's why you have such a a gigantic, to say the least, security force in this country. There's more security personnel in this country, private security personnel, than there is a police force. You don't believe me? You do not believe me? You don't believe me? I'll show you. How many police are in South Africa? We have close to 200,000 personnel, police personnel. Look at how much private security there is in the country. How many private security do we have in South Africa? Check. You don't believe me? Watch. Can you read? Can you read? Can you read? South Africa is one of the largest private security industries in the whole entire world. According to private security industry regulatory authorities, there are over 2.4 million registered security officers and around 16,000 active security businesses in the country. We only have 200,000 policemen in South Africa. But the private sector has 2.4 million personnel. What do you think is going to happen when people start rioting in the streets? The police are not going to do anything about it. Because they're just not enough. Is the private sector gonna try to do? They're not gonna do nothing because they want money. The state has to pay them so they can be able to stop these riots. Until the state pays them, they're not gonna stop nothing. Facts. That's very unfortunate. Gift, I applaud you, my brother, for that question. Why is the police force not hiring then? That's a beautiful question. That's a beautiful question, Chris. Gift. Why is the police force, why is the South African government not hiring? They keep saying that there's no jobs in South Africa, but we're going to fix the problem. You know, these politicians, when they talk, we're going to fix the problem. But they're just not hiring, dude. Why are they not hiring? And that's why we have these riots going on in South Africa, because we're trying to get rid of this government that's failing us, dude. That's it. And people, the whole world has the nerve to call South Africans xenophobic. You bugging, you tweaking. If you think that it's normal for a government to ignore, listen, how is it, bro? We have the largest security personnel in the world, 2.4 million private security officers, compared to literal policemen, is beyond crazy. People would rather pay security companies to look out for their homes simply because they don't have any trust in the South African government or South African police force to look out for them, even though they're getting paid by the taxpayer. Do you know how many cases I've opened up through the South African system, and the cases are still there pending? They're not doing anything about those things, those issues that are raised with them. And you think they're going to stop these riots? They can't. So what exactly are you saying? Dibaka is asking, but why blame that on the foreigners? What exactly are you referring to? Like, be more specific so I can be able to answer this question. Because right now it's very vague. What exactly are you referring to? What exactly are you saying that South Africans are blaming on foreigners exactly? So I can be able to give you a thorough answer. Mabru is saying I stopped supporting them when they started talking about looting, but my mom was supporting them. Now they looted her own shop too, and she is laughing. I don't know if she is in shock or what. She's like, bro. She's like, bro, I was supporting these blues and now they looted me. She's laughing because she's like in shock. She's like, hold on. I didn't think it would happen to me. I thought it would just happen to foreigners. Now they're even looting my shop as well. Mommy, tell your mommy I said this. Mommy, they looted your store simply because these people are criminals. The ones that were looting your store, those were criminals. Do not confuse those criminals with actual patriotic South Africans who want to see change in their country. Those were simply criminals. That's it. To put it in layman's terms, your store was looted by criminals. Were those criminals South Africans? Maybe a lot of them were South Africans, but don't forget that this country has an influx of criminals from other countries as well, so it could be anybody at this point. It could be anybody at this point. Prayer is saying this is ridiculous. How are hardworking immigrants the cause of the issues that South Africans are facing? Some of these same immigrants have businesses that employ South Africans. All right, cool. Let's talk about it. Great. All right, cool. I love this. This is a comment from Prayer Works. I appreciate you for this comment. Prayer says this is ridiculous. How are hardworking immigrants the cause of the issues that South Africans are facing? Let me explain to you, and just bear with me, right? You can contribute in the live stream. Let's have this conversation, you and I, just the two of us. Everybody else, I'd like you guys to chime in as well, but I'd like to respond to this thoroughly. I'd like to have a back and forth with Prayer Works. I'd like to have a back and forth with you, ma'am or sir, okay? How are hardworking immigrants the cause of the issues that South Africans are facing? All right, cool. I can explain to you how. My parents fought the apartheid government to try and get the apartheid government to stop. I'm going to give you the long answer. To stop discriminating against them. Wow. Simply because our parents were getting paid less. They were working some very low-level jobs, and this was all happening in their own country, right? So our parents and grannies fought this country, the oppressive apartheid government, and overthrew it eventually. Okay. Fast forward a few years later, they win the fight against the discrimination that was going on in this country. Fast forward a few years later, they eventually start getting access to the education that were not was not previewed to them. And thank God they managed to get educated and started working the jobs that the white folk worked for a very long time without South Africans having access to those high collar or white collar job. Okay, cool. Now there was an issue as to how the payments were gonna go about. They realized that, Haibo, why are black people getting paid less than white people for the same qualification and for the same job description that we are all doing in this office or whatever? Hey, so they started having conversations and riots about that, and they fixed that problem to some degree. Mind you, let me play it back a bit. It's still not fixed till this day. Till this day, the black folk in this country are still getting paid less than the white folk. Unfortunately, it's one of the biggest things that the EFF is pushing in this country with Julius Malema in them. That's the one of the biggest things that the EFF is trying to fight. Hence, they coined the political party's name being Economic Freedom Fighters, right? Cool. What do you mean you're gonna pay us less than the same person that's doing the same job? The same as far as qualifications. We got the same qualification. What do you mean you're gonna pay me less just because of the color of my skin? You bugging. So they started having that conversation to try and fix it. So there were riots in the past to try and fix this, you know what I'm saying? The minimum wage, how dare you pay me 1.5, should you pay me 4,500 rands? That should be the minimum wage. And they started having conversations around minimum wage in this country, right? Cool. So people started fighting. And they came a standard to say, okay, cool. People who work these types of jobs, like low-level jobs, they can't be paid peanuts. They at least should be paid, a certain amount of money that's reasonable so they can be able to be competitive in this economy as far as, survival is concerned. You know what I'm saying? Inflation is a thing as well. You know what I mean? You're not only fighting high cost of living, but you're also fighting inflation. So pay these people the right amount of money. I mean, these are people who live in this country. These are South Africans. These are people who are on the same level as we should all be equal under the South African law. So yeah, they started having those riots and they fixed it to some degree. Mind you, let me play it back. It did not get fixed till this day. Black folk are still getting paid under minimum wage. Cool. So if black South Africans are not going to be working these jobs simply because they want to be paid more money, then who's going to work these jobs? Oh, the Zimbabwean folks don't mind. Cool. We're just going to hire Zimbabweans then. They start hiring Zimbabweans, they start hiring Malawians, they start hiring everybody from Mozambique who's willing to be paid very little amounts of money just because when they flip that rand into a kwacha or a Namibian, I don't know what they call their money in Namibia, but if they flip it to their currency, it's gangwap. Oh my God, I can buy a bag of cement and build a house for getting paid peanuts in South Africa. I'm not leaving this place. Blues are like, I'm not going nowhere. I'm staying. Which is counter to what South Africans are trying to achieve in the first place. We're trying to force these people to pay us an equal share as far as minimum wage. But if you are going to tell us that you're not going to hire us simply because we want to be paid more, we want to compete with the current living standards, and you're just going to hire the next black person who comes from a third world country, and you're just going to try for their human rights, then this black African from a third world country is working against black South Africans then. And that's how, I just gave you one example of how unemployment in this country is a root cause of immigrants, illegal immigrants to be exact, who don't come here with skilled, with rare skills. South Africa has never been anti-immigration. It has never been anti-immigrant immigration. These protests, they keep getting coined as anti-immigration protests. That is far from the truth. If South Africa was so anti-immigration, if South Africa was so xenophobic, there wouldn't be an influx of millions and millions of Ghanaians coming here in South Africa. There wouldn't be millions and millions of Nigerians coming in South Africa. The whole country of Zimbabwe is here. Facts! The whole of Malawi is here. Facts! How is that xenophobia? How is that Afrophobic? Having millions of immigrants in a country, how is that Afrophobic? Come on, stop playing with me. Did I answer your question? Did I answer your question? Lovely comment. I even checked the white median household income. It's 700,000 K a year. And the black household income on average is 60K a year. Just imagine. But we blame this on foreigners. We are just not smart as a nation. Speak for yourself, buddy. Speak for yourself, buddy. Hold on. There's a reason why it's like that. There's a reason why it's like that. The simple truth is that you are living in a country that has the highest unemployment rate in the world. You're living in a country that's very, very unequal at that. So I don't know how old you is for you to be attributing that to somebody's intelligence. I don't know how old, like, I don't know, man. I got books here. I don't mind, as long as you're willing to pay for the courier fee. I don't mind sending you a couple of books so you can start reading. Because there's no way you type that in my live chat. Delete that. Delete it right now. Painful part about this whole thing is that we all humans and some South Africans do some of the things which we complain about. Facts. Some South Africans. I love this. I love this. Yo, Gift, shout out to you. Gift is saying that some South Africans are the reason why all of this is happening. Some South Africans do some of the things that South Africans are complaining about. That's completely fact. One thing that I would like to call out as far as South Africans is concerned is that South Africans are the same people who are complaining about tech shops, right? The tech shop economy or the spaza shop economy being infiltrated and dominated by the foreign nationals. The truth is, South Africans are the ones that are renting out these spaces to these foreign nationals. South Africans are the very same people who are renting out these salons that are being erected by Mozambicans all over the township. South Africans are the ones that are literally opening up their gates to have these shacks in their yards that are being operated by foreign nationals so they can start making coins, cutting South African hair or pampering South African nails. Okay? Now, that's also a cause of the root problem that we have faced in this country, which is unemployment. You just typed a message right now telling us that the South African white household is making an annual income on average of 700,000 rands. That's close to $1 million. And then South Africans are just making 60,000 rands on average. That's a problem. So black South Africans are going to find, other ways to get some money somewhere, somehow. So if there's a foreigner that's willing to help out with rent money, pay rent money or 5,000 rands per month just to have a container in the yard where they'll be selling expired food, so be it. But now South Africans are the same. The poor South Africans, unfortunately, are the ones who are allowing all of this mess to go on in the country. So I like this comment, but it also stems from the fact that the government is failing to create jobs so that people are employed in this country, so that we stop accepting money from people who are selling expired food to our children in our communities. You know what I'm saying? What else? Any more questions? I'm willing to answer any question, chat. Let's go. Somebody in the chat here is saying that I'm Congolese that immigrated to South Africa. I went to school here from primary school. Now I'm 28 years old, and a majority of South Africans aren't xenophobic. This is just the result of an incompetent government. I appreciate Big baller, I appreciate you for literally understanding what the word xenophobia means. You're one of the few people in the whole entire globe who understands what the word xenophobia means. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Because this word is being coined and being thrown at South Africans in the wrong context. The context in South Africa has nothing to do with xenophobia. Learn how to read, like Mr. Big Baller here in the chat. Mr. Big Baller learned how to read and literally Google words. If people are using a word, he's like, hold on, what does xenophobia mean? Let me Google it. He understands what the word means. But a lot of us don't, clearly. Is it about illegal immigration? Somebody else is asking a question. Richland. Yo, what up, Rich? Rich is asking, is it about illegal immigration, legal immigration, or just both? All right, cool. Let me answer that first part of the question. The question is this whole thing that's going on in South Africa about illegal immigration? The most simplest answer is yes. Partly. It's a lot of things, but that's just one aspect of a change that South Africans would like to see in this country, right? I could name 5 things right now, but that's one thing that South Africans are like, hold on, we have to fix this one urgently, simply because kids are literally dying from eating poisonous food that was bought from spaza shops. And who's running these spaza shops? It's Ethiopians and Somalis, allegedly. So that's very urgent. Getting rid of these illegal shops is very urgent because our kids are getting poisoned, allegedly. I'm using the word alleged just to be on the safe side, but this has been documented across several media news platforms in South Africa. The proof is in the pudding. So yes, if we fix the spaza shop mafia, if we get rid of that first, then at least our kids are going to be able to see the next day. We have no problem with legal immigration. Legal immigration is perfectly fine. Mr. Richland, legal immigration, perfectly fine. You know why I'm saying legal immigration is perfectly fine? Because it's always been perfectly fine in South Africa. That's why you have millions of illegal immigrants and legal migrants in South Africa. Because it's always been okay. It's always been like this, buddy. It only started being a problem when kids started dying. It only started being a problem when medicine from our public clinics and public hospitals started getting looted out of the system and being transported to Zimbabwe. That's when it started being a problem. And we were able to figure out that, say, Haibo, why is every single, obviously not every single, I'm exaggerating, but why is a lot of drug dealers and drug kingpins, why are they always Nigerians? Then it started being a problem. But illegal immigration has always been an okay thing in this country. We've always been okay with it as South Africans. I have friends who are illegal immigrants in this country. Some of them are in this live stream right now watching me rant. I love you guys, by the way. See how with me, I fuck with you heavy, boy. Rapster, that's my guy. Forever. I love Rapster. These are my blues for real. You understand? It's always been okay for my boys and the rest of the continent to be illegal in this country. It started being a problem when they started stealing medicine from our public hospitals and clinics. It started being a problem when our government started prioritizing them and their kids into our school systems without giving priority to our kids. It started being a problem. That's when it started being a problem. It started being a problem when every Sunday on Moja Love, a TV station in South Africa, we see Nigerians being busted every single Sunday with drugs, white powder. That's when it started being a problem. Illegal immigration was never, immigration was always frowned upon, but we were okay with it because we have Ubuntu. But now it reached a point where it's like, bruh, enough is enough. We're tired. I hope I answer your question, dog. You blame government for looting, but you are also looting. What? Why loot the shops that have expired products? That's a very good question. Why loot the shops that have expired products? That's a very, very that's a very, very good question. Unfortunately, you're asking the wrong brew. But it has been proven quite a number of times that the products are expired. Well, at least not all of them, but some of them are expired. Yeah. I mean, I guess the guys who are looting will have to answer this one. I can't. But if I was to answer this one on their behalf, they don't care. They're just gonna read, okay, this one is expired, throw it away, feed it to the dogs. The one that's not expired, they're gonna chow. I don't know. I don't know. By the way, we as South Africans, at least the ones who want to see change, condemn the criminal activity that's going on here in South Africa as far as looting is concerned. We are against it wholeheartedly. Let's find another question quickly. Big Baller. Big Baller is saying, I saw a Nigerian crown himself king in South Africa. If I was South African, even I was gonna get mad. That's crossing the line. That's literally disrespecting our constitutional, traditional, the jargon is gonna slap me. But there is a board of traditional heads that are running, or at least regulating, the traditional and cultural community in the country, because we also have kings and queens and, you know, traditional healers that have foundations or whatever. So he definitely crossed a constitutional line, a legal line, to try to crown himself a king in another king's land. Yeah, definitely crossed the line, and that pissed off a lot of South Africans. There was another Somali or Ethiopian story that I read, that I found a video about, of an Ethiopian brew also trying to crown himself king after the Nigerian one was literally dismissed completely. There was a Somali or Ethiopian one who tried to do the same thing. It's like, use your brain. What are you doing? You just saw the Nigerian brew literally getting dismissed completely, and you're gonna try to do the same thing? Are you slow? You feel what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So I hope all that we learned in this live stream chat is that South Africa has a governance problem. South Africa doesn't have an anti-immigration problem. We love immigrants. We let these people in our communities. We love immigrants, we really do. It only got to a point where it's like, Haibo, Mara, these people are replacing us, miss. How are they taking precedence over us as citizens? That's when we drew the line. So it's very unfortunate, but it is what it is. Chat, I appreciate you guys for joining the stream. You feel what I'm saying? Police are more evil than all of us. Yes, we human, but how can one destroy at night and pretend to fix during the day? That's a lot lacking of honesty in all government industries. I swear, man. I swear. Listen. Ethiopia, Algeria, South Africa, just to name a few countries. These are the few countries that still have things intact as far as, you know, a working economy is concerned. Everyone else is struggling. So if they trying to destroy South Africa too, they're gonna have to get rid of the South Africans first. And unfortunately, we are not known to be bullied around and letting it slide. South Africa is gonna retaliate. I'm sorry. T is saying, also to place yourself as a traditional authority in South Africa is unacceptable and probably sparked this new wave. Stop using words that you don't understand. T, with all due respect, stop using words that you don't understand. The word xenophobia in your whole sentence does not apply. You're using the word xenophobia in the wrong context. Google what the word xenophobia means, and you'll see that you can't use that word in the context of what's going on in South Africa. With all due respect, please delete this message and retype it again after you've Googled what the word xenophobia means. Stop playing with me. Stop playing with me. I'm not gonna have a conversation with you if you're gonna be using words that you don't understand. It's gonna be hard for me to have conversations with you. Google words first before you start typing. I say believe. What's going on in this country is not xenophobic at all. I forgive you though. Thank you so much for joining the live stream. I'll catch you on the next one. You feel what I'm saying? I just need to make a few phone calls. I need to eat. I need to take another shower because I've been screaming for 3-4 hours. And I'm even losing my breath because I'm struggling to breathe. Xenophobia is the fear, hatred, or prejudice against people from other countries. South Africans do not fear foreigners. South Africans do not hate foreigners. South Africans don't have a prejudice against people from other countries, cultures, or ethnic backgrounds. South Africans don't have any of these things that you've listed as what the word xenophobia means. If South Africans feared foreigners, we wouldn't have foreigners in our communities to begin with. If South Africans hated foreigners, we wouldn't let them rent shops in our yards. If South Africans hated or feared foreigners, we wouldn't let them open or erect spaza shops or salons in our backyards. If South Africans hated or feared foreigners, they wouldn't allow them to rent their back rooms in the township economies. We wouldn't let Somalians and Ethiopians run the whole spaza shop that's worth 200 billion rands annually. We wouldn't let them take it if we hated or feared them. Stop using words that you don't understand. I asked you to delete that sentence that you typed and retype it again because you just used the word xenophobia in it, and South Africans are not xenophobic. Did I teach you something today? I'm sorry for screaming, T. Because you literally just helped us right now to literally educate the other 60 people that are watching the live stream on what the word xenophobia means. And I'm sure that all of us combined here can agree that South Africans do not hate foreigners. They do not fear foreigners. We love them, Bruce. I have friends who are foreigners, for fuck's sakes. Illegally so. And I've been okay with them, Bruce, for years now. So I don't fear them, I don't hate them. You there feel what I'm saying? Cedric is saying, why not just riot to the government? Question mark. There was a looting of shops of legal migrants and even nationalized citizens of South Africa or Ethiopian origins in Edscourt. Very, very fair point. Why not riot to the government? Unfortunately, right? Again, the lootings that are going on in South Africa are not connected to the root goal that we're trying to achieve. We are simply trying to make sure that people take us seriously as far as our government is concerned. You know what I mean? The people who are looting, criminals. Arrest all of them. Put all of them in jail. The people who are violently smacking people in the face, kicking them, as we've seen in some of these videos, jail them. Throw them in jail. Please do it as quickly and as expeditiously as possible. Yeah. You feel what I'm saying? I say believe. The rest of us are just trying, the majority of South Africans are just trying to get our government to work. So you're asking, why not riot to the government? That's already been done countless times. These people ignore us. The same way how they were ignoring Nigerians. Nigeria got its independence in 1960. 1960. And their government is still ignoring them till this day. They even gave up on their government. South Africans all are saying right now is that, please guys, can you guys please go fix your documents, make sure that you come back into the country legally. That is not, 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 a crazy argument. That is not a crazy request. It's not. I'm sorry. Gift is saying, I think some people just loot because the government doesn't want to provide jobs. So maybe if they loot, the government will have to spend on the loss people created because the government pretends not to see it. Unfortunately, in most cases, as far as South Africa is concerned, historically, this is one of the ways to get the government's attention. Very unfortunate, but it's a working strategy. Unfortunately. You do feel what I'm saying? Cedric is saying, but if you look at the reaction from social media, the South Africans say they don't care. And even if you nationalize citizens, they don't recognize your citizenship as valid. You know why, Cedric? Simply because our home affairs is iborile. Our home affairs system is compromised because they've been dishing out citizenship to people who are not supposed to be getting citizenship to begin with. They've been selling IDs. It's all exposed on the internet. If you want me to do a stream on illegal activities that have been going on in our home affairs department, I'll do it and expose everything, because everything I've seen all of this. Listen here, chat. Everything that I'm talking about comes from an informed perspective. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm the only streamer. Who's willing to engage with his live stream and read your comments and respond to every single chat. No one else is doing this. These are demonstrations of frustration because the government doesn't care about its own people. Even the children can see that without parents telling them what's been going on. T is saying, I hear you, because I was responding to T's comment when he was saying that, or implying that, so what's going on in South Africa is xenophobic, and I was telling T that it's not xenophobic because by definition that is not xenophobia. Anyway, T is saying that I hear you. Hey, I lost your Shandis now. I hear you, but there's so many people who actually have the fear, hate, and prejudice. So many people. They are definitely not South Africans. And I'll tell you why they're not South Africans, because there wouldn't be so many foreigners in South Africa. There wouldn't be a whole influx of foreign nationals who are taking or dominating the job market in South Africa. If the employers were fearful or hated those foreigners, they wouldn't. Come on, bro. Don't do that. Rather say there's some people. Let's not say a lot of people. You know what I mean? Anyway, chat, I'm losing my voice, guys. I would love to continue on this stream, but I'm losing my voice. Can I just rest my voice? And I'll catch you guys in a couple of hours. I'll do another stream. Please click the like button. Make sure that you ring the notification bell after subscribing, because I know you subscribed already. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe. But make sure that before you leave, click the notification bell so that when I go live again tonight, I'm going live again, we continue on this conversation. I'm going to find more clips that we can literally debunk. I love the fact that you guys are learning from these live streams as well. Somebody said in here that, hey, I'm learning here. I'm new to all of this information. I'm learning here. So please, if you find this video valuable, please share it with your friends and family. Make sure you click the like button so the algorithm pushes it to more like-minded people like you as well. And I'll catch you guys in a few hours. I need to rest my voice. I've been screaming, okay? I'm tired of screaming. Ghanaians try to renew their documents, but we are delayed and denied. I'm sure they are overwhelmed, so it's good Nigerians evacuate those who have challenges. Ghanaians try renewing their documents, but we are delayed and denied. All right, cool. So, to the Ghanaians who are getting denied by the Home Affairs Department when they try to renew their documents, I think it might stem from the fact that there's a backlog. There's a backlog of some people who are trying to get documented. So if you come today and you're trying to get documented, or you're trying to fix your papers or renew your shandis, you might find that there's people who already got rejected 2 weeks ago or even yesterday, simply because of people who still are waiting to get help from the previous month. Unfortunately, our Home Affairs Department feels so overwhelmed that they can't even do anything. Why? Because our government is not working. Our systems are not working. Our systems are not working. And I'm afraid I'm going to say this in the most allegedly way possible, if that's even a word or a statement or however to put it. They probably want you to pay them money so they can assist you. Allegedly. I don't know. It's so corrupted. Our system is so corrupted. Mr. Wasua. Our system is so corrupted that they probably just want you to cough up maybe 1,000 rand so they can be able to renew your shandis. And in some cases, they don't want to renew your shandis simply because maybe you are an asylum seeker and they thinking, hey boy, if I renew if I operated the asylum seeker thing again, people are gonna be mad at me because we know that there's no war going on in Ghana. So it's probably one of those things that are being, questioned. Or at least that's what's going on in South Africa. We're questioning some of these asylum seeking refugees. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. I'm running out of breath. My ribs are starting to hurt because I've been screaming. My throat is sore. Can I just rest for a few hours? I'll catch you guys around 9 p.m. Central African time. Maybe after drinking a few beers. I'm thirsty as hell. And yeah, man, we'll continue the conversation. I appreciate you guys. Cheers. Click the like button.